Throughout history, humanity has watched the heavens for signs. In ancient times, when comets tore across the skies, they were seen as omens of war, famine, or sudden catastrophe. Scientists in the modern era have worked tirelessly to strip those superstitions away, reassuring us that comets are nothing more than frozen relics of cosmic history, silent travelers that pass by without meaning or intent. Join us on the enigmatic journey of why. As we delve into another mystery surrounding 3I/Atlas's approach causes two big earthquakes, and it's getting worse. But what happens when the heavens themselves seem to contradict that narrative? What happens when Earth itself begins to shudder in synchrony with a celestial visitor? That is exactly what has unfolded as the interstellar object 3I Atlas approaches our inner system. Within hours of each other, two powerful earthquakes ripped through Venezuela, shaking cities, rattling infrastructure, and sending waves of panic through the population. They weren't just strong quakes, both registered above magnitude 6, rare in that region, and were quickly followed by another 5.8 aftershock. At the very same moment, astronomers were watching unusual activity in the skies. Novas detonating in distant constellations, the sun firing off a coronal mass ejection, and 3I Atlas behaving in ways no comet should. Coincidence? Or is this a chain reaction written into the fabric of reality itself? The deeper you look, the harder it is to dismiss the timing as chance. Something is resonating between the heavens and the earth, and as this interstellar visitor comes closer, it's only getting worse. On September 24, at 2221 UTC, the ground beneath Venezuela heaved violently. A magnitude 6.2 earthquake tore through the crust, the most powerful in decades. Residents barely had time to recover when, only hours later, another quake, this time a 6.3, shook the same region, almost identical in strength but originating deeper, as though the earth had adjusted itself in two distinct waves. Then came the aftershock, a 5.8, smaller but still strong enough to rattle nerves and structures already weakened. In any other year, this would have been seen as a localized geological anomaly. But this time, the context was different. At the exact same window, Earth was under the influence of unstable space weather. The solar wind, normally flowing in steady streams, dropped to anomalously low densities, creating an electromagnetic vacuum around the planet. Imagine the planet's magnetic field as a shield constantly pressed upon by solar wind. When that pressure weakens, the shield relaxes, subtly altering the stresses locked into Earth's crust. Geophysicists have long debated whether space weather can influence seismic activity, but here was an alignment too precise to ignore: solar fluctuations, electromagnetic shifts, and tectonic release happening within the same hours. And looming in the background, as if orchestrating the rhythm, was 3I Atlas, an object whose mere presence is stirring patterns that ripple across sky and soil alike. 3I Atlas was catalogued as just the third confirmed interstellar object after Oumuamua and Borisov, and at first it seemed destined for the same kind of quiet study, a faint dot moving through the void, a chance to sample alien chemistry. But as weeks passed, it began to reveal a different face. Observers noted a tail that didn't behave like any other. Instead of streaming neatly away from the sun, the way dust and gas normally do, one portion of the coma appeared sunward, pointing back at the star as though pulled by some unknown mechanism. Other instruments recorded the opposite, a tail extending away as expected, but with strange plasma structures woven into it. Then came the most dramatic sign. The coma itself expanded to nearly 100,000 kilometers, not a faint mist, but a charged plasma cloud reacting violently to the solar wind. When a coronal mass ejection slammed into the object in July, it flared with sudden brightness, nearly 20 times more luminous, as though awakened by the impact. And now, another CME has hit harder, injecting fresh energy as it approaches Mars. This isn't just a piece of frozen debris being melted by sunlight. This is something interacting, responding, and changing in ways that make scientists question if we are watching a natural body at all. For ordinary comets, the sun is the sculptor. For 3I Atlas, the sun seems more like a trigger, one that flips a switch we never knew existed. Just as Earth shook and the sun roared, the stars themselves erupted. In the southern skies, two novas detonated almost simultaneously, V 1935 Centauri and V 7994 Sagittarii, hurling gamma rays and visible light across the cosmos, reaching us in perfect synchrony with the seismic events below. A nova is not a casual flicker. It is a violent outburst in which one star in a binary system steals matter from its partner until it explodes in sudden fury. That two of them should flare at once is already extraordinary. That it happened while Earth trembled and a strange interstellar object stirred under solar fire was enough to send chills through the scientific community. Are these events truly connected? Skeptics argue no, that novas are distant, unrelated phenomena. Yet cultures across history recorded comets, stars, and natural disasters in the same breath, not as superstition but as lived experience. The Mayans, the Chinese, the Babylonians, all believed comets heralded upheaval because they saw the sky and the earth moving in synchrony. Perhaps they understood something we have forgotten, that the universe is not separate compartments of star, planet, and comet, but a single system, resonating together like strings of the same instrument. And now, as 3i Atlas hums through our system, the resonance grows louder. The Sun has entered one of its most turbulent cycles in decades. With more than 160 sunspots currently active, each one larger than Earth itself, its surface is a battlefield of magnetic energy. Sunspot regions twist and snap, unleashing flares and CMEs that can dwarf entire planets in raw force. Into this environment comes 3i Atlas, a foreign body wrapped in plasma caught in the solar storm. When the latest CME struck, its coma compressed, flared, and altered in brightness as though feeding off the blast. Astronomers noted how its tail twisted unnaturally, like a banner whipped by invisible hands. At the same time, Earth's own systems responded. Auroras lit up skies further south than expected. Geomagnetic storms rippled through power grids, and seismic waves rolled through Venezuela. The pattern is unmistakable. Solar chaos above, tectonic chaos below, and an interstellar intruder at the center. What makes it worse is what lies ahead. 3i Atlas is closing in on a critical alignment, a near pass of Mars, followed by a superior conjunction with Earth, meaning it will line up directly with our planet and the Sun. Historically, conjunctions have amplified space weather effects on Earth, straining our magnetic field, disrupting satellites, and triggering global phenomena. To add an interstellar object, one that is actively interacting with solar energy, into that alignment is to roll cosmic dice with stakes we can't yet measure. Something is building, and scientists whisper that the earthquakes in Venezuela may only be the beginning. While Venezuela trembled, seismographs around the world began picking up an unusual rhythm. Small tremors echoed in regions not normally active, subtle shifts beneath the Pacific, faint rumblings beneath the Mediterranean, microquakes under Alaska. None were catastrophic, but together they painted a global pattern of agitation. It was as if the Earth's crust had been nudged, not once but repeatedly, across multiple fault lines. At the same time, satellites monitoring the ionosphere detected irregularities, pockets of charged particles swelling and collapsing in ways that suggested the upper atmosphere was being disturbed by more than just solar wind. Some researchers dared to ask the question, could the presence of 3i Atlas itself, with its massive coma charged by solar plasma, be altering the electromagnetic balance of the system? Normally, comets are too small, too weak to exert such influence. But this isn't an ordinary comet. This is a 2-mile-long shard from another star system, drenched in plasma, pulsing with energy from the Sun, and now arriving at a moment when Earth's crust seems unusually primed for release. Coincidence has a breaking point, and many scientists fear we have already passed it. As 3i Atlas hurtles toward its closest approach to Mars, astronomers are shifting their focus to the red planet, anxious to see whether it, too, will show signs of disturbance. Mars is not geologically dead. Beneath its crimson dust lie faults and a molten core that occasionally rumbles with Mars quakes, faint but measurable. If the comet's passage influences Mars the way Earth seems to be resonating, then we may soon witness seismic activity recorded by the InSight lander that mirrors what we've seen here. Already, Telescopes have noted faint auroral displays on Mars, caused not by a thick atmosphere like Earth's, but by streams of particles colliding directly with its exposed surface. This suggests that the comet's interaction with solar plasma could extend its influence beyond its coma, spreading disturbances outward. For scientists, this will be the ultimate test. If Mars quakes as Earth did, if its atmosphere shudders under the same crimson storms, then 3I Atlas is not just a curiosity. It is an agent of disruption, a traveler whose very presence reshapes worlds as it passes. Across history, civilizations recorded terrifying alignments of comets, quakes, and stellar outbursts. Ancient Chinese astronomers catalogued broom stars that appeared in the heavens just before earthquakes leveled cities. Babylonian clay tablets spoke of sky torches that burned bright before famine and flood. The Aztecs feared the return of fiery stars that coincided with the groundbreaking beneath their temples. For centuries, these records were dismissed as superstition, myth, or coincidence. But today, with satellites, seismographs, and telescopes capturing events in real time, we are confronted with a chilling thought. Perhaps those civilizations weren't exaggerating. Perhaps they were warning us. What we are witnessing with 3I Atlas, quakes shaking Venezuela, novas exploding in the skies, the sun flaring with unusual fury, may not be new. It may be part of a cycle older than our species, one that repeats when certain cosmic conditions align. If so, then the ancients didn't misinterpret comets. They understood them far better than we give them credit for, and we are only now catching up to what they tried to tell us. The most frightening part of this unfolding drama is not what we know, but what we don't. Every model scientists run breaks down when trying to predict the combined influence of solar storms, nova radiation, and the presence of an interstellar visitor. Will 3I Atlas destabilize further under the sun's relentless energy? Will its coma fragment, releasing torrents of plasma into the solar wind? Could it alter its path entirely, swinging closer to Earth or Mars in ways no simulation foresaw? Already its reactions defy prediction. One moment it flares in brightness, the next it dims unnaturally, as though controlling its own light. Its plasma tail shifts without explanation, sometimes toward the sun, sometimes away, sometimes splitting into multiple strands like electrical filaments. Meanwhile, Earth's own systems grow restless. Geomagnetic indices spike without warning, auroras descend further south than models allow, and seismic patterns echo across continents. The sense is not just of cause and effect, but of escalation, a chain of cosmic dominoes tipping faster and faster, each amplifying the next. And at the center of it all is a crimson visitor from another star system, reminding us with every passing day that our planet is not isolated, that we are part of a larger, more dangerous web of cosmic interactions. As scientists analyzed the timing of the Venezuelan quakes, another unsettling discovery emerged. The pulses of 3I Atlas coma, subtle fluctuations in its brightness recorded by high-resolution instruments, seem to occur in intervals eerily close to the cycles of Earth's seismic aftershocks. It was not a perfect one-to-one correlation, but the resonance was impossible to ignore. Imagine a drum being struck in the sky and Earth's crust vibrating faintly in reply. Could an interstellar object, millions of kilometers away, truly influence the seismic breathing of our planet? Conventional science says no, but the data tells a different story. What if the crimson visitor isn't just passively drifting through our solar system, but interacting with it, syncing with the frequencies of the sun, the Earth, and even the stars themselves? In physics, resonance is a powerful force. A small vibration, perfectly timed, can shatter glass or bring down bridges. If 3I Atlas has tapped into the resonant frequencies of Earth, then what we have seen so far may only be the first tremors of something far larger. As the comet's path carried it closer to Mars, telescopes caught sight of something extraordinary. The red planet, normally quiet and cold, began to glow faintly with auroras, shimmering curtains of light caused not by a protective magnetic field, which Mars largely lacks, but by streams of particles crashing directly into its thin atmosphere. The timing coincided exactly with the latest solar outburst striking 3I Atlas, as though the object had become a channel for the sun's fury, directing it toward the nearest planet in its path. Martian orbiters recorded unusual electromagnetic spikes, subtle distortions that hinted at currents moving through its upper atmosphere. For planetary scientists, the implications were staggering. If Mars can be agitated by the comet's charged plasma cloud, then Earth, with its far more complex systems of magnetism, oceans, and tectonics, could be far more vulnerable. And so the red planet became a warning, a cosmic rehearsal of what might await us as the alignment tightens and the crimson visitor edges closer to the inner solar system. While 3I Atlas stirred chaos in our neighborhood, distant stars seemed to join the chorus. Astronomers, still reeling from the twin novas that had erupted earlier, began reporting a subtle but measurable uptick in high-energy bursts from several variable stars across the galaxy. On their own, these events were unremarkable. But taken together, in the precise window of 3I Atlas awakening, they painted a disturbing picture. The universe seemed to be resonating, as though energy were cascading across vast distances, linking comets, stars, and planets in a web of synchronicity. Some dismissed it as observational bias, humans seeing patterns where none exist. But others whispered of a deeper connection, of a cosmic system wired together in ways we only dimly perceive. If comets are messengers, then perhaps 3I Atlas is not just a visitor, but a conductor, striking a chord that reverberates through both earth and sky. And if that's true, then we are witnessing not isolated accidents, but a symphony, one whose final movement has not yet been played. The hardest truth to accept is that no model can predict what comes next. Every simulation fed into supercomputers collapses into chaos once 3I Atlas is factored in. Its reactions are non-linear, its behavior inconsistent, as though it refuses to be bound by the equations that govern ordinary comets. One day it brightens, the next it dims, then its coma splits into multiple filaments, each trailing in directions no solar wind should allow. Earth's quakes continue sporadically, space weather grows unstable, and novas flare with unnerving precision. Scientists, usually cautious in their language, have begun admitting openly what many feared: we are in uncharted territory. Never before has an interstellar object passed through our system while the Sun was at such a peak of activity. Never before have we recorded seismic upheavals aligning so closely with cosmic events. And never before have we faced the possibility that the Earth itself might be caught in the resonance of an alien traveler. We stand at the edge of an unpredictable horizon, watching the crimson glow of 3I Atlas intensify, wondering if the earthquakes in Venezuela were not the end of the story, but only the prologue. While much of the attention has focused on earthquakes ripping through Venezuela and the trembling of Earth's crust, oceanographers began reporting anomalies that were just as unsettling. Deep-sea sensors in the Pacific and Atlantic recorded sudden shifts in undersea pressure, not from tsunamis or volcanic eruptions, but from vast, low-frequency vibrations echoing through the ocean basins. These vibrations, known as microseisms, usually originate from storm activity or natural background noise. But in this case, they appeared without any clear cause, as if the oceans themselves were being stirred from below. Satellites also detected strange temperature fluctuations in equatorial waters, abrupt spikes and drops that defied seasonal patterns. Some researchers suggested that the electromagnetic storms triggered by the Sun and amplified by 3I Atlas could be subtly agitating the oceans, redistributing energy into the currents that drive weather and climate. Imagine Earth as a giant drum, its crust the skin and its oceans the resonant body, with the crimson visitor striking the beat. If this theory holds true, then 3I Atlas is not only linked to earthquakes but also to changes in the oceans themselves, and if the oceans shift, then the entire climate may feel the ripple. At the same time, instruments designed to monitor Earth's magnetic field began picking up signals unlike anything recorded in decades. Normally, geomagnetic storms arrive in recognizable waves, responding predictably to solar winds and coronal mass ejections. But in late September, as 3I Atlas absorbed and deflected the latest CME, the magnetosphere trembled with irregular pulses, sharp bursts of energy that seemed to come from nowhere. Ground-based magnetometers in Canada, Norway, and Japan all recorded sudden jumps in magnetic intensity, short-lived but synchronous across thousands of kilometers. For ordinary space weather, such coordination is nearly impossible. This raised a terrifying possibility that 3I Atlas itself is acting as a transmitter, not only glowing in crimson plasma, but radiating disturbances that Earth's magnetic shield picks up like an antenna. If that's true, then every aurora lighting the skies and every ripple in the magnetosphere is more than just the sun's doing. It's the signature of something alien threading its influence directly into Earth's natural defenses, reaching across millions of miles to leave fingerprints on our skies. As scientists wrestled with unexplained data, historians turned back to ancient records, and what they found was both chilling and eerily familiar. In Chinese chronicles from the Han Dynasty, comets described as red stars with tails like banners were recorded as harbingers of both earthquakes and famine. Babylonian tablets speak of fiery objects in the heavens followed by the shaking of the Great Walls. Even medieval European manuscripts mention blood-colored torches in the sky that appeared in the same seasons as great seismic catastrophes. For centuries, modern science dismissed these accounts as myth, coincidence, or primitive superstition. But now, with an interstellar visitor blazing crimson in the sky and Earth's crust trembling in rhythm, those ancient voices sound less like fantasy and more like testimony. Perhaps the ancients saw what we are only beginning to understand, that cosmic visitors can disturb more than the night sky and that their arrival is not just spectacle but catalyst. The warnings of the past may have been written in metaphor, but their message is clear. The earth and the heavens are linked, and when they move together, disaster follows. Perhaps the most unsettling sign that something extraordinary is unfolding is not the data we receive, but the silence surrounding it. In the days following the Venezuelan earthquakes, NASA's official updates on 3I Atlas became strangely sparse, reduced to vague references and recycled images. Reports from independent observatories began disappearing from databases, their uploads flagged or delayed without explanation. Even seismic data from certain regions went offline temporarily, fueling speculation that the pattern of quakes may be wider than acknowledged. For insiders, the reason is simple: panic. If the public were to connect the dots, crimson comets, novas flaring, the sun's violent storms, and earthquakes erupting in perfect synchrony, the narrative of random coincidence would collapse. Instead, agencies retreat into silence, while leaks and whispers spread across forums hinting at classified meetings and emergency sessions among defense and science officials. It is said that the loudest alarm is sometimes the absence of sound, and right now the silence from those who should be speaking is deafening. It leaves us with the sense that something far larger than we are being told is underway, and that those who know more are choosing fear of chaos over truth. What began as whispers of an interstellar traveler has now grown into a chorus of signs too loud to ignore. 2 massive earthquakes shook Venezuela, novas erupted in the skies, the sun lashed out with violent storms, and through it all, 3I Atlas continued its approach, glowing with a hostile light that should not exist. This is not coincidence, this is not random. It is a pattern, one that connects the heavens and the earth in ways we are only beginning to perceive. The ancients warned us in their chronicles, speaking of blood-colored stars that heralded upheaval, and perhaps they understood something we have forgotten, that when the sky changes, so does the ground beneath our feet. Today, our most advanced instruments confirm what those who came before us already knew, that the universe is not silent, it resonates, and when something foreign enters its harmony, the resonance can shake the very bones of our world. And now, as 3I Atlas draws closer, we are left with terrifying questions. If its approach has already coincided with earthquakes, novas, and magnetic storms, what will happen when it aligns directly with Earth and the Sun? Are we witnessing a chain reaction that will escalate further? Or are we already inside a test designed by forces we cannot understand? The silence of official agencies suggests they fear the same thing many of us do, that this is not just astronomy, but survival. The crimson visitor is not just passing through. It has changed the rhythm of our planet, the pulse of our sun, even the whispers of our magnetosphere. The ground has already answered once, and if this pattern continues, the next answer may be far louder, far more destructive. The question now is not if it's getting worse. The question is, how much worse will it become? Thank you for joining us today on Why. Let us know your opinions in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the video on your screen for more mind-bending content. Keep waiting for another exciting why adventure, and until then, stay curious and stay tuned. This is Why, signing off.